Hey, this is Sarah from Keto on the Rise, and this week's blog post is going to look and feel a little bit different than what you're used to. I decided to do this video in lieu of a full blown out video recipe this week and tell you what I have going on. So, shaking things up a little bit here with 28 days of Ketovore. And so you're probably saying, what in the heck is Ketovore? I'm just learning keto. What are you doing to me? So first, let me start by saying, if you are just starting keto, keep on rocking it. Keep on going. DM me your questions. I've had some questions come in recently from some new people. Keep DMing me those questions. If you are seasoned in keto, you've been doing it a while and you need a little shakeup, you're at a stall, you're feeling some inflammation, you're getting a little bit bored, or you're wanting to just ramp up some weight loss, I want to tell you about Ketovore. So first of all, let me say, if you're new to Keto on the Rise, welcome. I'm Sarah, and I have been doing keto and living a keto lifestyle since March of 2020. I have lost 90 pounds, kept it off, feel great. I have a history of autoimmune disorders, spent years and still have symptoms of inflammation, joint pain, fatigue, bouts of depression, overeating. And so in March of 2020, I decided I was tired of feeling that way. I felt like my life was really not the quality that it should be, and that I had to take control of my own health and wellness. And I had done keto in the past, it worked. My doctor had suggested I do keto again. And so I went this time with a whole new mindset, full-fledged, jumping into keto, making it my entire lifestyle, not just a diet for a couple days a week. It was going to be my lifestyle. As I started losing weight, I started feeling better. Swelling in my joints went down. General swelling all over my body went down. I had tons of energy. Still have tons of energy most days. I started feeling that my mood was uplifted. I wanted to go out and do things, and I genuinely felt like this was a way of eating where I didn't feel like I was depriving myself, always thinking about I'm missing out on this food, missing out on that food, because I was satisfied. This way of eating a higher fat, higher protein intake makes you feel satisfied. A lot of people ask me, since you claim to be a foodie, which I claim to be a foodie, how do you get around not baking and making? And the answer is, I still do all those things. I seek out recipes that I can incorporate into the keto lifestyle. Now, I have chosen to do more of a clean keto, and that's what you're going to find on my channel and on my Facebook page and in my recipes is more of a clean keto. I do, however, throw in the mix at times a little bit of a dirtier keto, and that's just me. You do you and what works for you. But for me, a little bit of a cleaner, not as many ingredient keto recipe does the best for me, because that's when I feel the best. But as long as you're doing what works for you is what you want to continue with. So let's get into Ketovore and why I decided to choose Ketovore. So Ketovore, first of all, what is it? It's a mix between a keto diet and a carnivore, which is like an all meat diet, very low to zero carbs almost. And it is used frequently for a more rapid weight loss, definitely decrease of inflammation, an increase in energy, and just overall cleaning out your system. In a regular keto diet, you're going to be sticking somewhere between 20 net carbs to 30 net carbs is going to be your average. With the Ketovore diet, you're looking at about 10 total carbs, and that's not every day. You need to decide how many days you're going to do basically your carnivore, eating and how many days a week you're going to do the Ketovore, where you do count and try to maintain 10 total carbs or less. So yes, it's a lot of meat and animal byproducts, but the benefits from it, and you can look up multiple studies, podcasts, discussions. It's so healthy. It is basically how our ancestors ate, and you are filling your body with healthy fats from animals, amino acids, and multiple vitamins and minerals. So how am I going to tackle the Ketovore diet? First of all, I've got a calendar here, and I'm going to do 2 days a week of adding in those 10 total. And the rest of the days during the week, I'm going to basically be eating mostly carnivore, with maybe some sauces or just a very few carbs that might come in eggs or cheese or things like that. So that's how I'm rolling. You may want to come up with your own mix of days, whatever you think will work for you or be sustainable. So when we talk about Ketovore, we are talking about, like I said, meat, very low to no total carbs. So we're talking, you're going to be eating eggs, cheeses, you're going to be eating fatty meats, so like beef brisket, ribeyes, fatty ribs, chicken thighs. You can have seafood, salmon, bacon, sausage, hamburger, all of those delicious good foods. Some snack items would be like pork rinds, or if you've never heard of flock chicken chips and things like that. For your total net carbs, when you do that, you're going to do just as you normally would. Figure out the carbs for that vegetable, and the meat is going to be the primary thing on your plate, and the vegetable is going to be kind of like a condiment, okay? So that's what your plate is going to look like. Now, I can tell you, if you are a carb manager user, which you should be, because that's one of the things that I say brings you success in keto, Ketovore, and really an app like that for any kind of lifestyle or diet change that you're trying to do. You need to be tracking your food. So in Carb Manager, if you followed me for any amount of time, you know that you're tracking your fat, your protein, and your net carbs. Those are the three main things that you're tracking. And when you have your Carb Manager set to keto, of course, your net carbs are going to be set to hit that threshold of 20 net carbs a day. So we have to do a little tweaking with our Carb Manager. And let me refer to my notes here. So as far as the Carb Manager goes, there is an option on Carb Manager. It is called Protein Heavy option. It's not called Ketovore, but it is called Protein Heavy. And that is the option that you would want to choose in Carb Manager. And you would want to set your total carbs, which is going to be your veg for the day on your total carb days, to 10. And so on those days, you would put and track your things in just as you would on a normal day. Your Carb Manager is just going to look a little bit different. Now, honestly, on the days that you are not doing those veg choices, you really don't need to track, because you're going to be, on those more carnivore days, you're going to be, you're not going to be worrying about that, because you're not going to be taking in that type of carbs on those days. So that's your Carb Manager. The other thing about Ketovore is when you're eating on those days that you're mostly carnivore and you're not tracking, you want to eat until you're comfortable and satisfied. Don't worry about the calories. We're not worrying about the calories because it's just not needed. That's not something that you need to track. We want to make sure we're getting the high protein, the high fat, and our body is going to take those fatty acids and burn those versus sugar. So, you know, you don't want to worry about the calories. The only thing we're worried about during Ketovore is the total carbs on the day that we're eating some of the veg. So on the other days, you just eat until you're satisfied. So for example, I started today, September 1st. I'm gonna do this all throughout September. I'm gonna be checking in with you every day, giving you examples of the foods that I'm eating. And at the end of the month, I am going to give you like an overall, how do I feel? Have I lost anything? What kind of difference have I seen with Ketovore? And at that point, I'm gonna decide if this is something that I'm gonna continue, do intermittently, use to shake things up. I'm gonna tell you, stress in my life lately has been pretty big, and I try to manage that in all kinds of different ways. I use oils, I exercise, I take walks, but the stress level has been a little bit higher than usual. And so one thing that prompted me to really seek this out, because I've heard in the past that this is a great way to get rid of some inflammation, but this is really what prompted me to seek this out and go ahead and go for it. My joints were really starting to hurt and flare up again, and I knew a lot of that was stress related. I had also slipped up a couple times and eaten some things that I didn't either I didn't track, or I hadn't planned for, or that were really not keto. And sometimes when that happens, and it happens, you're really getting out of keto and you're really going more to low carb. And for me, that doesn't work because all of those things cause me inflammation. Okay, so that was a sidetrack, but that's what prompted me to do this. I'm gonna do it all through September, let you guys know how I feel at the end of September. Every day I'm planning on checking in, primarily on my Facebook page, Keto on the Rise, where I'm gonna show you what I'm eating, kind of give you updates on how I'm feeling, any funky things that might come up as I do Ketovore. But if you really want to get a good follow along of how this is going, or you wanna follow along with me, the Facebook page is where I would kind of direct you and steer you to go. Okay, so let's see, what else did I want to tell you about Ketovore? So a couple tips that I want to give you when you're getting prepared for Ketovore is the first one, and I say this for newbies for keto anyway, clean out your refrigerator, clean out your kitchen. Get rid of those things that you are not going to eat or that you think will be tempting to you during this. We're gonna wanna get rid of things that just don't fit in with this, because we don't want to have a slip up day, because we want to do this, we want to see how this makes us feel, we want to break through that stall, we want to get the inflammation down, we really want to give this our all. And so we're going to clean out the fridge, clean out the kitchen, get rid of temptations. If your family doesn't eat Ketovore, or your family is not eating keto, just put their stuff in a separate area that you're not going to get to. Put it in a basket in the refrigerator, or just get your kitchen prepared and ready to go. So then the second thing is get a calendar prepared. So you are on track to know what days that you're mostly doing carnivore, and then what days you have decided to do the 10 total net carbs and do the Ketovore. Again, you're going to be eating meat and animal byproducts. You're going to 2 to 3 days a week, have some veg, and very limited on the berries. But if you have a day where you feel like you need something a little bit sweet and you want to have a couple berries, as long as you get them in your carb manager that's updated with that protein heavy ratio, macro ratio, you'll be good to go. You always want to start with your meat first, so eat your meat first. If you're satisfied, you don't even have to have the veg, but always eat the meat first. Try to cut out, and you need to cut out, the sweet treats. One thing with keto, I can tell you, is that as you lose weight and you have passed the 3-week mark on keto, you're not even going to be craving the sweet treats. The only time I crave sweet treats is if I have not been really good with tracking, And so my carbs have crept up more than I'm used to. Or if I am fixing a lot of sweet treats, so keto cookies, keto cakes, things like that. Once I throw those back into my repertoire, I'm craving more of the sweet treats. So we're not going to be doing sweet treats during Ketovore. You're going to be a few berries here and there as long as they fit in your total carbs on your 10 carb days. Okay, so dairy. Dairy is allowed. It's an animal byproduct. Just look at your packages of cheese and see how many carbs they have. There are cheeses that are higher in carbs, so definitely check that out. But if you can do dairy and it doesn't bother you, do dairy. So as far as things to drink, of course, water is going to be your first choice. You can do coffee, like coffee with cream. You can do hot teas, cold teas that are unsweetened. You can do electrolytes. If you're somebody that does electrolytes on your keto, you can continue that on Ketovore. So electrolytes, of course, that have the no sugar added. So you can also do that. Now, I can tell you in all honesty that I do drink diet soda and I do use sweeteners. And this is something that I have to try to work through and eventually get off of, as I know this is probably contributes to some of my joint inflammation, and I'm working on that. So I'm during this Ketovore, I'm going to really try to cut back on those. I do have a goal as to when I want to get rid of sweeteners altogether, but I'm not going to tackle that just yet because with the stress up here, I'm just gonna let that ride for a little while. So, but if you can go with no sweeteners, go with no sweeteners. You want to cook everything in animal fat. So you want to get rid of vegetable oil, peanut oil, no avocado oil, no sunflower oil. You want to be cooking in bacon grease. You want to be cooking in beef tallow. You want to be cooking in butter, ghee, duck fat. If you use that, I know they sell that on Thrive. They sell on Thrive Market. They sell duck fat, beef tallow. So you could check that out. But you want that fat. So your body, instead of burning sugar, is going to be burning fat for fuel. And so you want to be cooking everything in animal fat. There's going to be people that are going to say, this is horrible for your cholesterol. I am a personal testimony that somebody with high cholesterol can reduce their cholesterol by being on a keto diet. That is me. I have it in writing on my lab work. And I've also had a calcium study done. I have no signs of heart disease. And I have really brought my cholesterol down. I'm on no meds by doing the keto diet. So anyway, supplements. If you take supplements, vitamins, things like that, you can continue those. So that's the basics. I would encourage you to do if you're at a stall. So I've heard a lot of times from people, I can't do keto, I lost the first 2 weeks, and then I haven't lost anything since. I don't like to track. If you are somebody that's at a stall, you probably need to shake things up, either by one, making sure you're logging everything you eat. Number two, by making sure that you're eating enough fat. 3, being as clean with your food as you can. Some things affect people differently. So if I decide after this September doing Ketovore that I want to add some other foods in, I'm going to start adding them back in, maybe a couple things at a time. That way I can see if there's maybe something that I've missed that has caused some more increased inflammation in my body, or kind of just use yourself as an experiment during this time to see what works for you. But I do challenge you to give it the whole month. Give it a full 30 days. That's usually how long it takes to see changes in your body, changes in your mood, and really get adapted to something new. Stalls happen to everyone, whether you're on keto or another diet, stalls are going to happen. I have found, since I have done keto since March of 2020, when I hit a stall, I have to shake it up a little bit. Either I have to make sure I'm tracking everything I'm eating, or I have to go cleaner, or I have to make sure that I'm getting enough to drink, or that I'm getting outside to take a short walk. Just something to shake it up and get myself back in check. And then things always fall in place. I wouldn't have lost 90 pounds if I would have just stopped at a stall. So I love Ketovore for a stall, or to decrease some inflammation that you have going on, or to get your mind right again, to get your body in more of a clean state. I think this is going to be great. So I hope that you go over to the Facebook page, Keto on the Rise. Make sure you like it. I would love for you to share it. I'm going to be posting all things Ketovore here in September. For those of you that are not going to do Ketovore, these recipes will still be perfect for you doing plain keto, because we're going to do a mix of different things. And if you're not doing Ketovore, you can add in your veg and your berries and things like that. So it'll still be very pertinent to you. Again, send me your DMs if you have any questions about keto or Ketovore, and let's do this together. I would love to have some partners with this. If you want to DM me and we can kind of follow each other each day, we could possibly get a little group of people going on where we can do some group messaging. But this is great. I'm very excited about this. I know I started today. This is day one for me. If you haven't started and you want to do this, just start tomorrow or start the next day after you get some planning done. Really, Ketovore is simple because it's so clean. It's mostly meats. You can pick up a couple vegetables to have as condiments, and I think it'll be great. So get your fridge cleaned out, get to the store, get your calendar made, DM me, and follow along on the Facebook group. I'm going to insert a couple clips here. Today I'm making a tri-tip piece of beef. I'm doing it on the charcoal grill. I'm also going to make some bratwurst and put those on the grill. I'm going to make a little chimichurri sauce to go with the tri-tip, and that's going to accompany my tri-tip on the days that I have my 10 total net carbs. If you have any questions about getting your carb manager set up to do the Ketovore, message me and I'd be glad to help you with that. And as always, stay on the rise. Thanks for watching Keto on the Rise, and share this with your friends. If you haven't seen me on YouTube, I usually post a video every week with a full recipe on video, and also the printable recipes that I share are on the blog, ketoontherise.com. Thanks, everybody.